I don't understand where we got to a place where we have such a targeted community of people. It makes me incredibly sad. Dear Heavenly Father, we ask your blessing upon the food, Lord, as it nourishes our mind and body. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen. Willow has always been Willow.
I always loved Melanie. I want to go to her tour.
When the words finally came and Willow could express herself and say that she wanted to present as a girl, that's when things started to kind of come into light for me, that I had a transgender child. She used to wear a hooded sweatshirt off the back of her head because it was long hair.
I began to socially transition when I was in about 5th grade. It was kind of fun getting my ears pierced. I liked getting them done.
My initial response to her wanting to be more socially transitioned was apprehension.
I was scared to go to school because people were really mean there.
The kids would deliberately misgender her or deliberately call her by her old name. We had to find an alternative. We were willing to make the sacrifice to drive to a different town or pay tuition to make sure that she had a positive school experience.
I would make the words bigger.
What I love about my schools that I go to is just them being very affirming and the people being kind.
For your quarter 4 project.
When Willow first came to the school, she was very shy for maybe 2 minutes and then seemed to find her preferred people and really just exploded out of just personality everywhere.
Governor Nome signing legislation that will prevent certain gender-affirming health care to minors into law.
Willow will no longer be able to get puberty blockers prescribed by her doctor in South Dakota. We're just putting a pause on puberty until we get to a point where her therapist, her medical doctor, and her parent all agree she's mature enough to make a decision how she wants to progress.
We know the risks associated with not accessing essential care. They include increased risks for depression and anxiety, and sadly, increased risks for feelings of self-harm, including suicidality.
Minors need our protection. They're prone to irrational decisions.
House Bill 1080 is hereby declared passed.
They think by creating laws like this, they somehow make trans people disappear.
If you've got a law in your state that says you're wrong for being who you know you are, that's going to deeply impact your sense of self.
There is a lot of anxiety around the increased affirmation and visibility of LGBTQ experiences, and especially trans and non-binary experiences.
What has been true about the progression of legal rights for LGBTQ people in the United States is that all progress has led to very extreme backlash.
We are coming on the air right now because the Supreme Court has just ruled on the key issue of same-sex marriage.
When the Supreme Court strikes down the remaining bans on marriage equality for same-sex couples with the Berg decision in 2015, the right was well-oriented to pivot to attacking trans people.
One of the things trans activists absolutely rightly pointed out is that while you might win on gay marriage, where is this huge infrastructure opposing it going to then park all of its energy? And since LGBT, well, the T is just sitting right there, they didn't have to go very far.
The legislation that we're seeing being moved in state legislatures across the country is model legislation drafted by very well-funded groups that have an ideological goal of eradicating trans people. It is not coming organically from constituents.
We've certainly seen political movements targeting LGBT people before.
Finally, from Miami, where a local ordinance was recently passed banning discrimination against homosexuals. Its most public opponent, Anita Bryant.
A lot of people might remember the Anita Bryant-led Save Our Children campaign in the 1970s.
I just stood as a mother protecting my 4 children from an ordinance that it would allow practicing homosexuals to be role models to my kids.
With this legislation, we have an opportunity to stand up and protect our children today.
It's not a political issue, it's a moral one. I love the homosexuals. I love them enough to tell them the truth.
They need to hear the truth. Male and female created he, them.
It's situating this idea that LGBTQ people are a threat to children in order to push legislative priorities that are designed to restrict the ability of LGBTQ people, particularly trans people right now, from living safely.
Senate Bill 150 bans gender-affirming medical care for trans youth.
Restricts bathroom access and bans discussion of sexual orientation and gender identity in the schools.
We can make common sense decisions here that protect our children.
In Kentucky, Senator Berg held the floor repeatedly urging lawmakers not to target young people.
They deserve to exist.
Her son Henry was a trans young person.
This is absolute, willful, intentional hate. Hate for a small group of people that are the weakest and the most vulnerable among us.
In 2015, my son Henry testified in front of the Senate Education Committee against a trans bathroom bill.
I'm Henry Brousseau. I'm a junior at Louisville Collegiate School. Unfortunately for me and other trans kids, going to the bathroom can be a scary experience. When I use the boys' room, there's no problem. When I have to use the girls' room, I was constantly harassed and picked on.
All my child was trying to do was have the world agree to see him the way he saw himself. The day we went to the state Senate was the day I said to Henry, I'm going to run for office.
He was fighting for LGBTQ plus rights.
Particularly trans. He was
in the center of the storm.
He was in the center of the storm. He knew more about what was happening in the individual state houses in this country. He was scared. He was, for the first time in his life, personally scared. Mom, I don't know if I'm safe to walk across the street anymore. My beautiful trans child had been attacked at least twice.
Your son, he died by suicide, but in the larger sense, what killed Henry?
He gave up on the world. He gave up on finding his place in it. He gave up on being able to just find a lane that he could be in and not have to struggle.
Tonight, one of the nation's toughest anti-trans bills is now law in Kentucky.
GOP lawmakers succeeded in overriding the veto on SB 150.
Children, do not give up hope. Do not hurt yourself, and God forbid do not go out and hurt somebody else over this. We will get this right for you.
Passing of these laws, the things that are said about the trans community will make them feel even more like they don't belong. The most frustrating part of all of those laws for me is that I'm her parent. I should be able to make decisions regarding my child's health care. We have the ability to get in the car and drive somewhere, but not everybody has that ability. It's not going to stop there. And that's what scares me, I think, the most.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.